November 12th, 2024 council meeting. I would like to officially call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Madam Town Clerk, could you please do a roll call?
Certainly, Madam Mayor. Mayor James,
Here.
Councilman Winkler,
Here.
Councilman Trollinger,
Present.
Councilwoman Bryant Ward is absent. Councilman Jenkins.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I ask if you all would stand and please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Council, if you've had a moment to look at the meeting agenda, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is if you all have had a moment to look at our council special meeting for 29 October, and I will entertain a motion. Anyone?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the minutes from October 29th, 2024 as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to our next part of the agenda, which is public comment. If there is anyone who would like to come and speak, I ask that you state your name, whether you live within the incorporated town limits, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do I have anyone who would like to speak this evening? Okay. On up and make sure you push the button so it's green on there, please. Oh, Miss Phipps is here to help.
Oh, you got it? Got it. Okay. All right. My name is Jenna Warman. I want to bring up a proposal to increase the chicken limit for residential properties. I wrote a letter and sent it, but Aaron said to come here and present it. I'm just going to read what I wrote fast. Okay. I'm writing to propose an amendment to the current ordinance limiting the number of chickens allowed on residential properties within La Plata, Maryland. Currently, the limit stands at 6 chickens. I respectfully request that the council consider increasing this limit or granting a special exception for properties such as mine at 509 Scarlet Oak Road, where a larger number of chickens could contribute positively to the community and the well-being of families. And my rationale is that for food security and self-sufficiency, the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted vulnerabilities in our food supply chains, revealing how quickly access to grocery stores can become restricted. Families faced with economic hardships are increasingly seeking ways to become self-sufficient. Raising chickens can ensure a consistent source of nutritious eggs, which are essential for family diets. Also, encouraging young families. The current 6 chicken limit may deter young families from settling in La Plata. Families are migrating to nearby counties such as St. Mary's and Calvert due to less restrictive regulations on backyard poultry. By allowing a greater number of chickens, La Plata can attract and retain young families who value self-sufficiency and sustainability. Educational benefits for children. Keeping chickens provides invaluable learning experiences for children. It encourages them to spend time outdoors, engage with nature, and develop a strong work ethic. My 4 young boys actively participate in caring for our garden and chickens, learning responsibility and the value of hard work. Addressing egg production challenges. Chickens go through a natural molting process during which their egg production decreases. They go through it every year. With a limit of 6 chickens, maintaining a steady supply of eggs year-round becomes challenging. Especially with a family of 6, it's not enough to feed us at all. By increasing the allowable number of chickens, I said in my letter 16 to 20, families can better meet their nutritional needs despite the natural cycles of poultry. Okay, and then precedent for special exceptions. The Calvert County Board of Appeals previously granted a special exemptions for a family with one child in 2019 based on similar reasoning. I believe this sets a precedent that can be built upon to support families like mine, which include multiple children benefiting from the educational and nutritional opportunities that come with raising chickens. In conclusion, I urge the town council to consider revising the current ordinance regarding the number of chickens allowed on residential properties. Allowing 16 to 20 chickens on my property would not only benefit my family, but it would also support the goals of fostering self-sufficiency, attracting young families, and providing educational opportunities for children in our community. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? Thank you very much. And your boys are so well behaved. It's very nice. Thank you for bringing them here. All right, next on the agenda is pension plan update. Director Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. As requested, I'm bringing my monthly update on the status of the pension plan. In the last month, I've learned quite a bit more than I ever thought I would need to know, and stuff that I didn't know. So I just want to reiterate, I've contacted and reached out to several different firms. 3 of them have completely ghosted me after they kind of saw the outline of the plan. I've got 2 that are entertaining our requests and are kind of looking at, can it be done? What needs to be done? What are some challenges and concerns that they have? So we've had some initial conversations. I will say that every conversation that I've had with all the initial meetings with all these vendors, every single one of them has tried to talk us out of it. They've used words like, this is unique, it will be challenging, this will stretch our capacity, and they've all suggested alternatives. So that just kind of goes to where we're at in the challenges, and maybe some of the slowdown of trying to get where we hope to be is because this is not a traditional thing that most of these firms are used to setting up. I also did get estimates of first year setup, maintenance, and administrative fees. Most of them, the 2 that I'm currently talking with now and considering, have both quoted at least $55,000 for their services. That would include the actuarial, that would include the fee for the lawyer, that would include setting up the trust, and a couple of the other fees that are associated with that. One of them did indicate that actuarial fees will increase 3% annually on top of that 55,000. And then also, this is my new fact that I learned, is that because this is an individually designed plan and not a pre-existing template that the IRS has approved, it will have to go to the IRS for a favorable predetermination letter. That fee is another $2,700 and does not guarantee that the plan that we create is going to be one that the IRS will approve for the special tax exemptions that come with having a pension plan in place. So those are all things they wanted us to consider as we continue to go through this. And also there are a significant number of questions that have been asked that were not in our initial outline. Some of them I can answer on my own, but just to give the council an idea, things that we're looking at is the guidelines for reemployment, for breaks in service, how we're going to track credible service, the required documents to add and remove individuals from this plan, how we want to do payments, if we want to consider lump sum, drop, benefit, how beneficiary payments may work, if disability repayments may work. And then also, one of the things that was initially spoken to when we developed this is people that were in these eligible positions. And if somebody moves in and out of those positions, how is that going to look? Typically, a pension plan is, okay, all employees or no employees, or it's all police, or it's all whatever. But the council has indicated in the past that if somebody moves into a leadership position or a management position, that they are no longer covered because they're not of this boots on the ground position. So that is not a traditional aspect of a plan. So that's also something that we're working through and we'll have to make decisions on as we get further in the process. So the next steps is that if we do want to continue moving forward and knowing that the admin fees are significantly more than what we were initially expecting, we will have to enter a contract because these are outside of the procurement limits. So next next meeting that I'm at, we'll have to get approval for the assistant town manager to enter into those contracts. But I did want the council to be aware that it is significantly more than what we expected and maybe had initial ideas from Bolton, which of course Bolton said that's not their lane, so they weren't really sure. And of course, his estimates ended up being much, much different than we thought. So.
Does council have any questions?
Please be gentle.
Director Kennedy, I have a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Were any of these roadblocks, and I think you just alluded to it or just asked it, but were any of these roadblocks noted or, Bolton created a recommended list of options A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think. Were these roadblocks noted in their recommendation? Because this was one of their recommendations that they presented to council, correct?
Correct. That was not, these kind of roadblocks that we're doing now are more the meat and potatoes of the plan, whereas Bolton was just looking at a larger actuarial view, so they weren't getting into the weeds of these finer details. So no, none of these were really identified.
Okay. And this may be something for Director Larsen, but would you say that these roadblocks or, the fees that you are anticipating that you said were greater than anticipated, would you find them to be cost prohibitive? So 3 times. So I'm going to throw this out. Would you say that we need to go back to the drawing board?
I don't necessarily know if we need to go back to the drawing board, but I just think we need to readjust our expectations of what the actual cost of this plan is going to be long term.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your memo and for the update. I think it's important that we understand where we are as we go forward and what, if any, further guidance you need from us. And I appreciate that you asked in your memo, if it's still the council's will based on this new information. And I want to clarify a couple things in what you've presented. Number one, you said that questions that keep coming up or a number of entities have tried to quote unquote talk us out of it. Who are we talking with right now that we expect to get something back from you the next time that you're here as far as entering into a contract to get started? Who is it? Who's our number one group at this point? You've talked about people that haven't gotten back to us, but who are we working with currently?
So the 2 firms that have talked to me so far are Amret and USI.
All right. Could you spell the first one for me?
It's AMRET.
Okay. And USI. Okay. And both of them are willing to work with us on creating a plan.
Yes.
Okay. Based on the prior, guidelines that we've talked about as council and that were approved as council.
Correct.
Okay. They've indicated there are certain steps to move forward for approval. But a $2,700 application charge or blessing from the IRS is not a significant roadblock, right?
Well, if the IRS denies it, then we don't have a plan at all.
Is there any indication from Amret or USI that the IRS would deny the plan
Yes.
as proposed?
Yes, they said that typically the IRS has, one of them referred to them as shells of like pre-approved pension plans that the IRS has already given their blessing on, and they say, these are great plans, we approve them, they meet all of our requirements. When you start picking away at that shell and making things different and making exceptions, your chances of getting approved start decreasing, because now you're asking for things that the IRS has maybe in the past said, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Okay, you're saying maybe. To what extent does it decrease the probability of approval? We don't know that yet, right?
Until there's a full plan, no, we can, until we submit it to the IRS, nobody can predict that. But
Right.
they did say that if it's not in one of these shells, that
Then
that it is a much harder sell to the
a
IRS.
much harder sell?
Yes,
Okay, so
because the IRS is pretty much already what they have told me is the IRS
Sure.
already has dozens of these pre-approved plans out there
Mhm.
that will meet 99% of anybody's needs. So to try to make a plan that doesn't meet these requirements that they've already approved, they're going to look at and say like, why can't you use one of the ones that we already have that have already been approved?
So are we saying that Bolton gave us a potential plan that would not meet the IRS standards or muster?
Well, that wouldn't be something that Bolton would do. That's not their lane of creating plans. There was to look at an actuarial money standpoint, not
Right.
as the details of execution of the plan.
Which we haven't gotten to yet anyway.
Correct.
Okay. So the IRS could bless it, could not bless it, but we're not even at that point.
Correct.
Okay.
But we do know that we're not using one of their pre-approved plans
Sure.
because the agents that I've talked to, these consultants and the vendors have already said these are things that are not standard.
Mhm.
So they very quickly said like, you know, which I think is why they're trying to steer us in a different direction to say, hey, let's do one of these ones that's already pre-approved that we know you're going to be able to get.
Is it something that we could hear from our reps from either of them? If we're at the point of comfortability that we look like we've got two potential options between these entities, and you've described them as them having significant concerns,
Mhm.
right? Can council hear from these reps?
Yes, I know at least one of them has indicated that they would be willing to come to speak with council.
I think that would be a really great idea. And maybe we don't do them on the same night. Maybe we do them on different nights, or we have a special work session, whatever we would want to do. But I think everybody wants to make sure it's done correctly, right? And knowing that there's going to be a significant investment both now and for as long as we can know.
Mhm.
But all the questions have to be asked, I think, directly to the reps on this. If we're comfortable allowing them to do that.
Yeah, and also because our plan wraps around the Maryland state plan, anytime that Maryland changes, we would have to change our plan, which would have to go through this process again. If
How
it,
often does that happen?
I don't know, Maryland, well, whenever Maryland wants to do it.
How,
And the last one was 2011, I think. So every 20 to 30 years is not unusual for a state pension to have some kind of update or modification.
okay. And again, without hearing, I mean, I don't know, is that a significant problem or?
It depends on what Maryland does,
Okay,
and how significantly it would impact our plan. Because a lot of our plan is supposed to be being around what Maryland is doing and what the employees are getting paid from by Maryland.
okay. So the 3 times increased estimated cost, is that relating to the $55,000 number?
Correct. Yeah, Bolton said he wasn't sure, but they said they figured it would be around 15,000 administrative, but you know, even Tom admitted at the time that he wasn't sure because that wasn't really what their company does. And so now we've discovered it's significantly more than what.
And that was
Yes.
confirmed by both of these entities?
Yes, one of them was 55 and then one was a little bit more because their lawyer fees are based on the lawyer that's working on the particular plan and the particular part at a time. So, you know, whichever level of that is has a different billing rate, so
And
it
this
could
is the-
fluctuate.
This is the maintenance plan, and this is
Mhm.
part of us not doing it in-house.
Correct.
When is the next time that we can get together on this issue? And is the next step hearing from the reps, or is that too early at this point?
I mean,
Sounds like it's the right
I
time.
was just saying, if you have more questions about like the feasibility of the plan, I think it would be better to do it now before we enter into contracts with them and get too far down the road.
So we would want to hear from both, since we're weighing both as potential vendors?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any other questions other than I think it'd be great to hear from them, like you said, sooner rather than later. Thanks for the update.
Councilman Jenkins.
Thanks again. I would also just echo and underscore the questions from Councilman Trollinger as well. We should meet because I'm having a hard time understanding an estimated cost and we haven't even seen anything in writing yet. So I'm a little perplexed by that. So what is the plan? So the memo just says, I mean, I hear a lot of negativity. I hear a lot of obstacles. So I would agree that from my perspective, we need to sit down and talk with them as soon as we can to really know the elements and then the costs. And then after that, what is the plan after that? So is it seems like there's some suggestion that our consultant Bolton didn't go deep enough because they gave us, 3 options or something, and I think we ended up favoring one. And so you said, clarify that it wasn't in enough detail. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Bolton only gave us very broad outlines of plans that they use for actuarial numbers. They did not anticipate or assess or take into any kind of considerations some of these smaller details that we're trying to work that will come with now that we're working out an actual plan. Bolton just gave us like a $50,000 view of a plan, and now I'm trying to make it into a executable document. But yeah, Bolton's role wasn't, we didn't ask them to create a plan. We said, give us some ideas of what can be in a plan.
Okay, I guess I'm just, again, just mystified how we're 5 months after the budget was approved and we've gotten very little progress. And I know you're working at it, but it just seemed like this is going on forever and we don't have any numbers. And already it's like, no, we can't do it. So I'm just perplexed.
I don't want to put words in Director Kennedy or Director Larsen's mouths, but I think that you have to recognize what we voted in or what was voted in does not exist in the United States. It's never been done before and it will never. This is precisely why
I'm going to
don't do
respectfully
this.
disagree with that.
No, it's never been done, which is why she's
No,
running into the.
I'm going to respectfully disagree, and that's passed. We voted, so now we have to move forward. And all I'm asking for, and maybe I didn't say it correctly. Where's the transparency? We're getting this stuff in dribs and drab, and we can debate whether it's out there or not at a later date. All I'm asking for, I didn't say it the right way, but I would like to see us get the full information, not dribs and drabs. This is like Chinese torture. We're getting drip and drip and drip, and so therefore we're not getting the full information. And so I think we need to make any decision whether it's doable or not. We need to get a piece of paper that says, here's plan A, here's plan B, or whatever the plans are, and what does it cost? For me, that's the bottom line.
Right.
I don't want to argue in the past because that's done. All I know is that we passed by 3-2 vote to move forward. And now it seems like we're kind of dragging it out for some reason.
And the cost is going to continue to go up, and it's going to be cost prohibitive. I respect your opinion, Councilor Jenkins, but let me finish. Let me finish.
Please let him finish.
Let me finish. It's at some point you have to recognize that our intentions are. No one's saying that we should not, including me, that we should not create a better pension plan for the police officers. Absolutely, but what we have created. It would be no different if Bolton said we need to design a train that's a foot wider than the standard train tracks and then say, well, now we have to go build a new railroad. That's exactly what Director Kennedy is telling us. It's up to us to now say, wait a minute, we're in the right direction. We're going in the right direction of getting the police officer a pension plan. But what we have voted in, it's just not possible. And it's not the reason she's getting pushback, and I'm not an expert, but I have reached out to people in this area, it's because they have to create it specifically for us. It does not exist in the financial world. And to marry this along with what we currently have with the pension with the state of Maryland creates so many obstacles that they have to figure out how they can do it before they can sell it to us. And that's from some very reputable firms. And I'll yield back to you.
I don't necessarily agree or disagree with that. All I'm saying, it's premature to say it doesn't exist. Okay, now I'm going to talk, okay? So, so for me, the bottom line is, you're right. If it's too expensive, we don't do it. But we don't have those numbers yet. So we're already no, that's only an estimate. What does it give me a number that says plan A is this, and this, and it's 85, whatever number is. Plan B is this, and this, and then what's the number? Okay, that's all in very simple terms. What are the plans, if there are, and what the cost is in writing, so we can see it, not, with all due respect, an estimate of what it's going to be. Because that doesn't cut it for me.
Well, these vendors gave me those costs directly.
Well, then I would like to hear them say it, and I like to see it on a piece of paper that shows me that. And then if it's too expensive, and I'll eat my words. But until I see it in writing, I'm very suspect.
Yeah, I'd like to say, look, I think we understand this is the most difficult part, is building the plan. It was always going to be building the plan. We knew, you told us it would take time to figure out all of the details. That was part of our concern originally when we passed the Willow Council, to try to accommodate not only the police department with an enhanced pension plan like the rest of their colleagues all over the state and all over the country, but also incorporate Public Works Department as well. As you stated, some of our boots on the ground employees, not to leave them out of the discussion. That's why it's different. That's why it's different, is because we wanted to be more encompassing than just our public safety police department employees. We never thought this would be an easy process. And I appreciate you guys wrestling with this and being the point of contact with vendors that may not be as familiar with what we've asked for them to do per the Bolton plan. I mean, I'm not going to say the same words that Councilman Jenkins suggested, but I mean, you guys connected us with Bolton to get an idea and an assessment of the cost. That's why we had to look at an increase in taxes, property taxes, to support that plan. So we're not going into this without the information that we were given by town staff through Bolton. We had a vigorous discussion on this. It's a living problem, right? It's going to move, it's going to evolve, it's going to change. So I just want to let you know, I appreciate the fact that we're going to have to wrestle with this until it's done. But we always knew this was going to be the hard part. And so thank you for communicating that with us. And I look forward to working together to make it work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your update. All
Thank you,
right, next
Council.
coming up is, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Councilman Trollinger requested representatives to present to the council. Is that the will of the entire council?
I will take,
Sure. Yes.
I mean, yes.
if we can get them here.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, if we're going to pay somebody $55,000 every year to try to set it up, we should probably get to know them a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll work on that.
All right, thank you. Next up is Acting Director Wood.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're bringing to you the setters to go along with the meters that we purchased. We got 3 quotes, and we found that JB Water is the cheapest, and that's who we plan on to go with, as long as y'all approve.
Right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for getting 3 bids. Appreciate that. Any questions for Acting Director Wood? Go ahead.
Thank you again for the information. So are there available funds in the enterprise funds to fund this particular purchase?
Yeah, I believe when so I wasn't involved in the budget, but they put money into the budget for that.
So the enterprise fund will pay, the water enterprise funds will be able to source this
Yeah.
payment.
Yes, and it's reimbursable. like you
Okay.
said.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
No question.
We're familiar with JB Water. They do a good job.
So this is the first time we dealt with them. We usually use Corn Main, but Corn Main's $5,000 higher, so we wanted to try to save some money.
Okay.
Which actually JB Water said they could get it to us faster, deliver faster.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, so I'm looking for a consensus to move this forward to legislation. Councilman Winkler,
Yes.
Councilman Trolinger,
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Acting Director Wood. All right, next on our agenda is Director Mosrie. Come on up. Good evening. All right, what are you asking for?
This process was started by the previous planning director, and I've kind of picked up the ball and run with it. The inspections department had previously ordered a Ford Maverick, 2024 Ford Maverick from the fleet company. And we learned that Ford is unable to produce enough Mavericks due to high demand, and then there was a microchip shortage a couple years ago. So we've had to look for alternative vehicles. We have not had any success through the various fleet programs. It appears that pickup trucks are just in short supply. So we have turned to local dealers to try to purchase a vehicle. And I have contacted these dealerships. There's five in total that could not provide us a compact truck or a full-size truck for our budgeted amount. We did find a dealership in Lexington Park for a 2024 Chevy Silverado that could, with all incentives and rebates, get us out the door for a pretty competitive price. I did check with Kelly Blue Book online with the year and model and all options, and I have that, and it does confirm that we are getting a good price. So if council has any questions, I'd be happy to do my best to answer.
Councilman Winkler?
So you said competitive because it's about 12,000 difference, correct? So was there a reason to change the model from a Maverick to a Silverado, or?
Yeah, we could not find any, despite the system buying a new vehicle, I think is a nightmare for everyone. Advertised prices online, those are not out the door prices, and
Correct.
vehicles that are in stock on the websites are not actually in stock. And there seems to be a shortage of Ford Mavericks, that you just can't find them, especially the base model, stripped down model that we need with no frills. So we started pricing Chevy Colorados and Ford Rangers, which would be kind of a comparable compact model. And what we found is that the Rangers and the Colorados are as much as this full-size vehicle. And the reason for that is that this particular truck that we would order meets our specifications, but it is a base model pickup truck.
So just, when I got your email, and thank you for that, on the agenda, and I sent, because I didn't anticipate being here this evening, but cursory grant, there are 18 Mavericks for sale at a dealership within 30 miles of here in stock. And the vehicle, this VIN number is listed for sale at this dealership for a price that's less than what was quoted to us. So I might just, I don't, if the needs justify the expense, absolutely, purchase a vehicle. That's a pretty significant going from a Maverick to the Silverado. My only, suggestion would be to, see if, because there are vehicles that are available, there was a shortage, there is a backlog, but there are opportunities out there, and I'll leave it at that.
My apologies. I didn't realize this whole time. So the planning director was originally going to use this new Ford Maverick. Unfortunately, what has happened is that one of our pickup trucks is a 2016, and in recent year and a half, it's had significant maintenance on it. Our mechanic has done an excellent job trying to patch it up. So now we're looking at purchasing a full-size truck, which would better suit our needs and inspections. Four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive is a necessity. And due to the various things, we remove signage, shopping carts, we pick up trash, cans. A full-size would better suit our need. And then that would allow us to have two pickup trucks. One would be a 2022 and this 2024. The older one would end up going to a different department for a lighter use. So we've kind of switched gears. It wasn't necessarily that we wanted to pivot to the full-size truck, but now with the planning director leaving, I think it's a better option for us to just get the truck that we need.
Any other comments? All right, so I'm looking to move this to legislation. Councilman Winkler,
Yes.
Councilman Trollinger,
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. All right, thank you very much, and thank you for doing, going above and beyond with all the work on that. I know it hasn't been easy I appreciate that. It's been a
It's a
16.
process that I don't even want to do for myself when I.
Well, you did well. You did well.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right. Director Parks, you're up. I should say wastewater superintendent Parks. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but a man of many titles.
All right.
Council,
What do we have going on?
Mayor, thank you for having me. So as you know, annually we get the Willow Lane pump station, our largest pump station, cleaned out by a company out of Pennsylvania, Klein Services. They're now known as Wind River Environmental. So this is our annual cleaning of the wet well. We actually made an attempt to try and secure other bids. Unfortunately, we only had their bid. So this is the same people that have been doing this since 2015. They do a great job. They get the wet well the way we need it. So I'm asking council and the mayor to approve this expenditure to have the wet well cleaned.
All right. Any questions for wastewater superintendent Parks?
No questions.
No questions.
Thank you again for the information. So you've had a pretty good track record with the company.
Yes, yep.
And how many wet wells will they maintain? Or
It's just the one. Willow Lane is
Willow
a big
Lane.
one.
is that the new one?
It was built in 2014, I believe, but it's our
Oh.
largest one that handles pretty much
Okay.
all the flow from this side of town over. So
And then the funding source is from the enterprise funds, and that'll be sufficient to pay it.
Sewer collection enterprise fund, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
you.
Looking for a consensus to move this to legislation. Councilman Winkler,
Yes.
Councilman Trollinger,
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins,
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. Thank you very much.
you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, and next, Melinda Adams, come on up for Tilghman Lake Settling Basins.
Hello, I'm here to present to you maintenance and increase of the settling basins at Tilghman Lake Park to allow all of our various utilities to be able to have a place to store in an environmentally, excuse me, an environmentally friendly way to be disposed of and dewater materials prior to ultimate disposal when we're doing pipe repairs of the various utilities.
All right, short and to the point, right? What questions do we have from council? Councilman Winkler, Councilman
Nope.
Challenger,
Makes sense to me.
Jenkins?
No questions. Thank you.
All right, well, wait, the magic words here. All right, we are going to see if we can have a consensus, if we can reach a consensus to move it to legislation. Councilman Winkler,
Yes.
Councilman Challenger,
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. There you go. Thank you so much, and thank you for preparing that memo. And it's Larsen, Treasurer Extraordinaire. All right, what you got going on?
Good evening. We are needing a budget adjustment amendment for the bonds that were issued on December 7th of 2023. These were not in the original budget. And after consulting with bond counsel and talking to Municap, who manages it, and our auditors, this budget amendment needs to be done to account for the funding sources or the financing sources to the uses.
All right, thank you very much. Do I have questions from council? Go ahead.
Nope. Oh, no.
Thank you again for bringing this forward. So this affects the FY24 budget?
Correct.
And how does it, I mean, I see that the attachment says a credit, and then is that, so how's that actually affect the budget? in
Well, the
24?
revenue is increasing from the bond proceeds.
Okay.
Then we have the expenses for the use of those proceeds and the issuance costs that go along with it and the interest costs that go along with it.
So is this a positive or negative effect on the end of year budget for
Well, it's
FY24?
not going to really have an effect on the general fund because the amount that's going to be, that's the difference between the proceeds and the expenses is 1.38 million, but that goes into an escrow, which is a reserve.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Looking for a consensus to move it to legislation? Councilman Winkler,
Yes.
Councilman Trollinger,
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. Thank you very much. All right, so now that brings us to legislation. All right, take a deep breath. We've got several of them.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, Town Council, Resolution 24-23 for introduction and consideration of adoption, a resolution concerning water meter setter purchase for the purpose of authorizing this chief executive officer to enter into a contract purchase agreement for the purchase of water meter setters and all matters generally relating thereto.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 24-23 as presented?
Madam Mayor, make a motion to accept Resolution 2423, the water meter setter purchase as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Brings us to resolution 24-25.
Mayor and Town Council, Resolution 24-25 for introduction and consider of adoption, a resolution concerning inspection department vehicle purpose for the purpose of authorizing the town manager to enter into a contract agreement for the purchase of one 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 truck for use by the inspections department for code enforcement and inspection activities and all matters generally relating thereto.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 24-25 as presented?
I would make a motion to adopt resolution 24-25, inspections department vehicle purchase as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to resolution 24-24.
Mayor and Town Council, Resolution 24 dash,
They were out of order.
24?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Resolution 2424 for introduction and consideration of adoption, a resolution concerning the Willow Lane Pump Station maintenance for the purpose of authorizing the chief executive officer to enter into a contract for the cleaning of accumulated fats, oil, and grease from pump station wet well and the hauling and disposal of such accumulation in all matters generally relating thereto.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 24-24 as presented?
I make a motion to approve resolution 24-24, Willow Lane Pump Station Maintenance as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 24-26.
Madam Mayor and Town Council, Resolution 24-26 for introduction and consideration of adoption. A resolution concerning Tilghman Lake Park settling basins for the purpose of authorizing the chief executive officer to enter into a contract service agreement for the creation and maintenance of settling basins at Tilghman Lake Park and all matters generally relating thereto.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 24-26 as presented?
Make a motion to approve resolution 24-26 as presented, Tilghman Lake Park settling basins.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And ordinance 24-18 for introduction.
Madam Mayor, ordinance 24-18, amendment to the Town of La Plata fiscal year 2024 financial plan budget 2023 series bonds. First reading for introduction for the purpose of amending the Town of La Plata fiscal year 2024 financial plan budget to reflect the activities of the 2023 series bonds and all matters generally relating thereto.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our reports from Mayor and Town Council. Councilman Winkler.
Historic Preservation Council or Committee meets this Friday, so I'll have an update at our next meeting. And just a little personal congratulations to the La Plata cross country team for winning. The girls came in third place for cross country at 2A regionals. The boys came in first place for the second year in a row. Finished in the top 5 at states. The girls finished 9th overall, but a tremendous showing for our local athletes. So very proud, and of the little special thanks to Coach Blaine, Coach Starcher, and Coach Nichols for their dedication to the team. So
Thank you for sharing. All right, Councilman Trolinger.
No new update from last week, our last meeting. Thanks.
Councilman Jenkins.
Thank you. I wasn't going to talk about the ordinance request from Ms. Warman, but she did that eloquently, so I'll pass on that. The Parks and Recreation Commission meets tomorrow morning at 7:30 in our Zoom meeting. And I'll come back with a report from that. Thank you.
All right. And, for my report, first of all, congratulations to our chief for 11 years of sticking it out with us. You have really made a difference in our town, and I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the fun that you have and all of the headaches that you endure. So thank you. Here's to 11 more. Yeah.
As they say in Chick-fil-A, it's
Thank you. And to Colleen for organizing an amazing Veterans Day parade. First of all, she dialed in the most perfect weather, but I think at last count they had almost 1,800 people participate in that parade. Don't forget, coming up on Saturday after Thanksgiving is Shop Small Saturday. So make sure that you are aware of all the good deals downtown and support our local vendors and businesses. And our next meeting will be on Tuesday, November 26th, a couple days before Thanksgiving. So with that, we do have a reason to go into closed session, and I will entertain a motion from someone for going into closed session. You're it.
There it is. Madam Mayor, I make a motion to go into a closed session, statutory authority to close session 3-305B7 to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. The topic is to obtain legal advice for potential litigation.
Thank you very much. So I will end. Do I have a second? And then we'll do roll call.
Second.
Okay, so I will have our acting town clerk do roll call. And if you are in favor, please, of going into closed session, please say yay. If not, please say nay.
Roll call on the vote. Mayor James,
Yay.
Councilman Winkler,
Yay.
Councilman Trolinger,
Yay.
Councilman Jenkins.
Yay.
Madam
Thank
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for attending today. It's great to see you all. And this meeting is adjourned at 6:50.